My name is, now it's Kadim, but it was Mark Jackson. I'm 57 and I was born in Concert. Concert's a small town, 15 miles to the west of Newcastle. Very, very strange place. It was a steel works. So everybody in the town lives in the town, socialised in the town. Some people, pensioners, when I was younger, had never left Concert. No reason to leave. Men had gone away to war in the Second World War, came back, and since 1945 to 1985, never left Concert. Everything was there for them. Maybe go to Blackpool occasionally on holiday. Very strange place, brother. Very, very insular. No ethnic diversity. No Muslims. No Muslims in Concert. There is now, but this was back when I first became a Muslim. There was no Muslims in Concert. Split between Protestants and Catholics. So for me, Catholic people were strange, exotic. And that's Catholic. White Catholic people were strange, and I didn't mix with them because I was default Church of England. I never went to church, brother. I believed in God, but I didn't go to church. I wasn't a fan of organised religion. I didn't like it. I thought it was not for me. And I'm sitting here in front of you. Ya Allah. I grew up in the 70s and the early 80s. Nothing special. Very normal. Very nice. I was married and divorced young. And then a few years later I met my wife now. And we married. And we've been married 30 years. But nothing sticks out, brother. Nothing sticks out. As I say, I didn't like religion. I believed in God, but I didn't think I needed to go to church. I think the reason was I felt it was very controlling. My understanding of, used to talk to Catholic people now and again. My understanding was, your prayers go to the priest and then the priest sends them to God. I thought, this is not how it works. I think my prayers need to go directly to God, not through another person. But no, nothing. I work in health and safety. I'm a health and safety manager for a big company, Cleveland Bridge. It's a very big company in the northeast. We're the people that built the Tyne Bridge, Sydney Harbour Bridge, things like this. I've always worked in heavy industry, and for the last 25 years I've worked in health and safety in these industries. And they have always been predominantly white, working class industries. So it's surprising how well people have accepted us. In the current climate, there's a certain, you need to accept people of different ethnicities and religions. But that was never it. People just accept you. Oh, you're Muslim. Oh, how does that work? And then people will ask you, and you can give a little bit dower. Will these people ever become Muslim? I don't know. That's between them and Allah. But you can give a little bit dower. Myself and my wife, we travelled a lot, but on holiday in the Middle East. And we met a lot of Muslims. Very, very nice people. We travelled to Syria before the Troubles. It was becoming a big tourist destination. Fantastic country, fantastic people. Beautiful. And Palestine. Went to Palestine, Tunisia, Morocco, Turkey, all these Muslim countries, and we met a lot of Muslims. And I think slowly it starts to sink in. And it starts to become, it changes your thinking. You start to think, am I right? Or are these people right? And slowly, myself and my wife, we both started to think that. And say we travelled to Syria and we went to the Umayyad Mosque. You get to visit as a tourist. You get to visit the Umayyad Mosque. And I felt compelled to pray. I wasn't a Muslim. I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know. So I just sat there and I spoke to God, Allah. I spoke from the heart. And my wife felt the same when we came out. We were very, very moved by our experience in Syria and the people we met. People with nothing, but they want to share what they've got. We went to houses and people lived in almost caves. They were almost like caves. And there was about 20 tourists. And the woman of the house, everybody had to go in, and the kettle was on, make tea. On an open fire. Kettle's going on an open fire. Have tea. Sit down, everybody sit down and have tea. It's not, and then give me money, it's just hospitality. And I thought, yeah, I'm doing something wrong in my life. And for a lot of years I'd been searching for something, but I don't know what it was. But there was something missing. I always say to everybody, it was like I was a jigsaw and there was a piece missing. And it was Islam. I didn't know at the time. There was just something missing. I've spoken to the vicars and priests who have had them at the masjid. And a vicar said to me, he said, do you not think you could have become a Christian? And I said, it never entered my head to become anything. I wasn't drawn towards Christianity, and it never entered my head to become a Christian or Muslim. It just happened. It was something very organic, but we've never looked back. Because my wife took a shahada at the same time as me. My wife's from Concert, white British. We'd never met Asian people till probably we travelled abroad. Very, 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 very strange how it had happened. It was people's submission to Allah, brother. People praying 5 times a day. Hearing the call to prayer. I think the call to prayer is such a beautiful thing. We stood in Palestine outside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. We weren't Muslims. And there was a group of maybe 20 people. And the guide was telling us about the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Behind us is the Mosque of Omar. The call to prayer happens. The guide was very upset. He was a Jewish man. I think it's maybe a political tour. It's very, very pro-Jewish. But very good. Everybody turned round when the call to prayer started. And everybody listened. And it's things like that, brother. It was nothing in particular. It was the fact everybody went to pray. Places emptied. You would be in somewhere and it would empty. You'd hear the call to prayer. Everybody would just go one direction. And it feels so right. And we both start to investigate the Quran and looking more into the religion. And it went from there. We went to Palestine and we went to Jerusalem and we came back, and I had to go away with work. I had to go to Birmingham with work. And I said to my wife, there's some great shopping in Birmingham. Let's go to Birmingham. And I said, you know what? I think we should try and visit a mosque in this country. I didn't know. I thought it was a tourist trap abroad. I'd phoned up. I'd said, could we come and visit? Oh, yeah, we'll have a tour at 10 o'clock. I think it was Thursday morning, something like this. Okay, we'll be there. So we stood outside, the sister came. Bus pulls up, all the kids piled off. It was a school visit. All the kids piled off. And we all went in the mosque and we had a tour of the mosque. And afterwards, cup of tea. Typical Muslim hospitality, samosa. And I was talking to one of the teachers. I says, I must congratulate you on your children. These are the best behaved kids I've ever seen. And there was 2 teachers and women, they were both laughing. These are special needs kids. They will not sit quiet. Not special needs, more educationally challenged. Just disruptive kids. She says this is the first time we've ever seen them as quiet, attentive, asking sensible questions. The kids were fantastic, and I couldn't believe it. And I was asking the sister questions and more questions. She says, you seem very interested in Islam. I says, oh yeah, we are. She says, there's a man in Birmingham, Mr. Khan. He runs an exhibition. You might want to go there. I'll see if I can make an appointment. So she phoned and, oh yes, come along. So we went to see Mr. Khan. I'm saying to my wife, we're going to be on the television. This is a wind-up, we're going to be on the television. But it's not. It's a man, Shamshad Khan, and he took our shahada in Birmingham. We went around the exhibition, then we went to meet him, and we sat for maybe 4 or 5 hours talking. And he was asking us our beliefs and everything else. And he said, you know, I think you're already Muslim, and you just didn't know it. You just need to take the final step. And I looked at my wife and we said, yeah, we both want to take our Shahada. And afterwards, brother, bearing in mind the background I come from, concert, big steelworks, coal mining community, if I chop my hand off, I'll go, oh, that hurt. I cried. And I don't think my wife had ever seen us cry. And I was crying afterwards because I was so emotional about taking my Shahada. And it just hit us both so hard. It was, and 8, 9, 10 years later, I'm not even sure. Because everything before Islam seems to have faded away. I remember things vaguely, but it's nothing's the same. It's all very, very grey. And we've never looked back, brother. We still, 100%, it's the best thing we've ever done. It's the best thing, and I would recommend it. Recommend it to anybody. It's a strange thing to say. It's got to, you've got to feel it. It's possibly, Islam's possibly not for everybody. But I think people should look more into it and maybe not dismiss it as a foreign religion or a strange religion or something that other people do. I think people should really look at it and for themselves. Because if you'd asked me before, brother, when I was in my 30s, maybe, would you like to become a Muslim? I would have just laughed. You know, it's very, very strange. Funny story. Mr. Khan said, there's a mosque in Newcastle, very, very good mosque. I know the Imam, Sheikh Abdul Basit. Here's a telephone number, go there. So we lived in Concert, 15 mile away. Newcastle's accessible, but it's a car journey. So I phoned up one evening when I came into work. Can I make an appointment with the Imam? On the phone. Imam not here, and the phone went down. So I tried the next night. Can I make an appointment with the Imam, please? Imam not here. Phone went down. So the third time, can I make an appointment with the Imam? Don't put the phone down. Yes. Can I make an appointment with the Imam? Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. I'll be there. So myself and my wife came down. We met Abdul Basit, Brother Schwab. And we sat and we talked to them. And he says, is there anything that worries you? I says, will I be accepted? Will we be accepted because we're white? And they both laughed. She says, you need to come in. And I prayed, first time in a masjid, I prayed properly with the brothers. And then, I don't know whether it's Newcastle Central Mosque or every mosque thing, I was handed the microphone and ushered to the front. And I'm standing like a rabbit in the headlights. And afterwards, all the brothers congratulated us and hugging. And I've never really been in a situation where men hug each other, and it's so physical, you know, and so beautiful, and it's so fantastic. And I've never been in that, brother, and it was great. It was great. I came to the masjid for prayer. We had classes here. We had the Quran class. There was derses. IDC. I went to IDC, Islamic Diversity Centre, and I was helped there. But there is a lot of support in Newcastle for people, and nobody should be left alone. Nobody should be left. You know, once you become a Muslim, it was probably slightly different for me, because I had my wife. We'd both become Muslims at the same time. We're both together. And we had each other for support. But I can imagine people who come to Islam on their own, and the family aren't Muslims, or that they have just friends at the masjid who are Muslims. I can imagine it's slightly different for them. But yeah, there's a lot of support in Newcastle. What kind of difficulties have I faced becoming a Muslim? I've been very lucky, brother. I haven't faced really any difficulties. My family, very accepting. Considering my parents are both 80 now, and they're from Concert, so they've lived there a lot longer than me, very accepting. And my parents came to the mosque. They've been quite a few times. And my father came, met Abdul Basit. First thing he said to Abdul Basit, our Imam, you're a bit young to be doing this job, aren't you? I'm going, ya Allah. They're very accepting. And I think my parents are so accepting and so happy with it because they've just seen I'm a better person. I was never a bad person, but I'm a better person. And Islam hasn't changed us into a bad person or a fundamentalist. It's just made me a better person. And I'm much more content. And they can see I'm much more content and I'm more settled and happy. EDL and BNP, people like this, they do annoy us a little bit. Come to the mosque and talk. Come and sit down, have a cup of tea, talk to people. Like men. Instead of wanting to shout and fight and swear, come to the masjid and sit down and talk. I've been at an IDC event where the EDL turned up. You're all paedophiles. Hold on, that's a silly thing to say. Of course we're not. You all hate Britain. No, we don't. It's our country. You know, a lot of people have come here second, third, fourth generation, even first generation people. I know Syrian people, Iraqi people, and they love Britain because Britain's a safe haven. They've given them a country. They've given them somewhere to live. Yeah, back home's Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, but you're living in Britain. And I see a lot of Muslims who are very, very happy with Britain, and it's their country. But anybody that doesn't like Islam, what do you know about it? Because there's a lot of books out there, brother. I've come across them. There's a lot of books which will tell you some very strange things about Islam. Unfortunately, the author's name is usually not a Muslim name. It's a white British, and they've heard a story, and somebody's told them a story, and you know, my brother's cousin's friend had a bad experience with a Muslim. But come and see for yourself, and you'll be made welcome. Connect with the masjid. This is my advice to everybody. If it's a new Muslim, somebody who maybe left Islam or doesn't like Islam or had a bad experience with Islam or just hasn't prayed for years, connect with the masjid. You can pray at home. Alhamdulillah, there's great reward in praying at home, but come to the masjid if you can, because it's so different. And it's such an experience, and the brotherhood, everybody's brothers and sisters, but come to the masjid. That's my advice to anybody. Anybody who they're not feeling their Islam anymore, come to the masjid. People say, but you don't have any culture. I'm British, like, so that's probably right, but we do have culture. British people do have culture. Unfortunately, it's the culture of going to the pub, going to the nightclub. So I don't miss that at all. I don't miss that. But we do have culture, and it causes problems. At work, Christmas parties. I don't go to, brother, because there's alcohol and a lot of free mixing, and I don't usually have to free mix. The ladies in the office stay in the office, and I stay on the shop floor. But at Christmas parties, everything's different. So I don't do it. But we do have culture. And I appreciate people from other countries have their culture, which maybe gets in the way of their Islam as well. But learn your deen. Come to the masjid, learn your deen. And leave culture. I'm leaving culture. My wife's left culture. We've left the British culture. And we try to be as Islamic as we can and good Muslims. But that's my advice to anybody, from wherever. Leave your culture behind and follow the deen. And if you're struggling, speak to somebody. Because a lot of us, and I think people are finding during COVID, a lot of people are struggling mentally with mental health issues. And being men, we tend to keep it to ourselves. But people should speak. And if somebody's quite new to Islam and they're struggling with the religion, they're not sure, they've done the right, come to the masjid. Come among the brotherhood as much as you can at the moment with the COVID and speak to people and learn. Because I think, honestly, brother, the more you learn, the more you enjoy Islam, and the more you feel part of Islam, and it seems to just enclose you. The biggest lesson I've learned in my life, I think there's two big lessons in my life, brother. Number one is to have sabr, to have patience, because I'm not a patient person. I want everything. I want to do it now. If we're going to go on holiday, I want to go now. I want to do it now. Why have we got to wait? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Straight while the iron's hot. And the other one is humility, brother. We all stand in front of Allah. And to be humble and be kind to people. Because I see a lot of, not in Islam, but I see a lot in the world where people think they're better than other people, and we all Allah's creations, and we'll all stand in front of Allah at the end of days, and ya Allah, I'm frightened, because I haven't always been a Muslim, brother, and I've done some things that probably weren't right. Even now, we all sin in minor ways. And humility, brother, I think that's the big thing. Nobody's any lower than me in the mosque. Nobody's any higher than me in the mosque. Everybody's a brother. And I think just humility. And in the world, nobody's any lower than me. The lowest person in the world, I would lift them off the knees and say, you're my brother. You're not my servant or my slave, you're my brother. And I would hope that the really, really powerful people in the world would lift the likes of me and say, you're not lower than me, stand up. You don't need to kneel in front of me.